Let's see. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. I got too much junk on my table. All right. So. Good stretch. Hey guys, Dante here, and welcome back to my channel, The Burger Thought. And welcome back to another Sunday night streaming. Sunday night art streaming, that is. And as I sniffle, because I always sniffle when I get too close to the freaking microphone, it's like, it just kicks in. Today we are going to be finishing these hands. We are going to be painting and finishing up these hands for my character TONIC. Now, who is TONIC, you may ask? You might have remember him from a previous piece. Give me a second as I reach. Okay. So this is TONIC, called so because he is a ghoulish figure trapped in an old-timey tonic bottle. Except for his legs and his arms, which managed to phase through the glass. So I went ahead. Now, you guys might have seen this stream a while back, and if you haven't, definitely check out my YouTube channel for the archive. We sculpted the legs from epoxy clay and soft foam for the interior with a metal wire, and then used acrylic to paint it. Right now, he is loosely mounted onto a nice piece of wood. He's not glued down yet, but there are metal wires going through. Not shown on video, at least not here anyway. I went ahead and made a plastic kind of T-shaped skeleton inside of him to really holster everything together. There's a hole in the side of each side. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to paint these hands. And we are going to actually go ahead and finish up these, finish this guy up. At least in terms of painting and assembling. And that music got a little bit loud. Hold on. There we go. So once again, wireframe around a thin layer of Crayola air dry foam for the interior, and then I went ahead and sculpted over it with smooth on epoxy, the epoxy freeform sculpt, and I'm actually very happy with the way these kind of cartoonish proportion, big fingered hands came out. Like, I'm very, very happy with these hands. They're slightly asymmetrical, but you know what? I'm okay with that. And we're going to go ahead and paint them. Let me adjust the light, because I notice the light's yellowish on camera for some reason. Sometimes. Let me turn the light off and see how that changes. And while I wait for that to feed back into the stream which I'm watching, I'm going to just fill up our recycled material with all the colors we need. So we're just using a nice emerald green mixed with some lime yellow. So, the emerald green itself is... How did I do it last time? I believe we used emerald green for... Yeah, we used emerald green for the flats. And then a bit of a lighter green, the yellow green, for the lights. And then we mixed a little bit of red in there for the darker. We did that for the body because the face, which is inside the bottle, was already a slightly darker shade of green. Basically, I want the face to be darker and the hands to be lighter. So yeah, let's just get some water and just start doing the covering the bases. Let's go with the big guy. Let's go with the closed fist. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, so this light is this the light bulb I have here is like a warm yellow light. I think it looks better. Yeah, sorry. I'm mentally trying to multitask and it doesn't work. But yeah, we're going to leave the light off for right now. Because for whatever reason the camera catches it as yellow, and I don't like the way it looks. So we're chugging through the new year right now. Here in New York City, it has been brick, as they say. It has been very, very cold. And I looked out my window, and it seems we're getting a little bit of snow. They've been keeping an eye out. They were like, oh, by Monday the snow might turn to rain, but it's been so cold. Like it's in the teens, and it feels like it's in the single digits. And we got a little bit of that. We got hit with a little bit of that cold weather back on Monday. Is that a crack? Nope, just a weird spot. I forgot to sculpt it smoothly, which is fine. I'm using acrylic because it's thick, so it'll hide any imperfections in the sculpture, like a fingerprint here and there that I kind of missed. As I was saying, Monday was horrible. Tuesday was kind of horrible, if I remember correctly, because I was outside all week working. But then it actually got a little warmer. Okay, give me a second. I have this cool guy. I know people use one of these for like miniature, like sculptures to hold them. To hold your little sculptures, or in some cases when you're doing electronics. I just use it to hold onto art pieces such as this arm. Okay, I'm trying to grab this guy. I'm trying to grab TONIC. In fact, make sure I'm getting the color tones right. Let me see. Yeah, I think when we did the face, I went a tad dark for the face to really highlight the lighter spots that are pushed against the glass. For the body, I went neutral with just the emerald green and did a slightly lighter emerald green as opposed to the super light yellow emerald green. Yeah, I'm trying to just make sure the color tones are roughly in the same ballpark. And this whole thing, I mind you, after I sculpted it, you have to spray it with like a primer of some type. I just did it with some white spray paint primer. There we go. Because I've learned the hard way many times, if you don't prime it, I think I'm gonna leave the shoulder last. I like actually have something to hold on to. If you don't prime it, it's sad times. You get sad times. And we have Joe in the chat. Hey Joe, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us back. City is going to be one night schedule. Perhaps. I mean, if we it's snow right now, but but let's say it begins to melt a bit and then freezes again, we're going to get black ice everywhere. So what happened? Joe, did the patriarch of the family wrangle you into start shoveling already? I just want to say, because we are using acrylic, and once again, as I mentioned already, it's a bit of a thicker medium, so it's going to hide fingerprint patterns and everything. I'm hoping not to lose the details in the hand, because I actually managed to get a relatively nice, like, basic fingernail and knuckle wrinkles. I'm not doing what I usually do for my models, which is the wet brush. And a wet brush and dry brush to sink into all the fine details. I'm just doing broad painter strokes with this. So, I don't know. Maybe we might end up losing some of the fine details. I'm always iffy with putting stuff into my airbrush. Heck, I have white airbrush paint, and that alone ends up being too thick for the airbrush. Like airbrushes, like I love my airbrush, but it's also because I don't have it. If it was warm outside, I'd do it outside because there's a spot in my building where I could get outside and get to electrical socket. I can't really airbrush in the house until I build like a little tent of some type to catch all the spray and dust and everything. Well, not dust, but airborne paint. But yeah, airbrush. I'm still learning. I think the best thing I did with airbrush recently was when I did the prop for Creature Crosby of on Instagram. I did that laser gun he wanted. That was our airbrush, and I was very, very happy with that. And it was a big prop. Once again, check out my YouTube channel, guys. You can see how I made a really cool kind of like not steampunk, but kind of in the vein of like Star Wars, like sci-fi laser guns that you could tell have been worn and used, like in world, in universe kind of props. I did a cool laser gun for an associate of ours. Okay. Okay, just gonna start mixing up some different shades. Different shades of green, different shades of yellow. Yes, that's too light. That looks a lot better. Oh, by the way, Joe, Romina, and many people at home don't know who the hell I'm talking about, but our mutual friend Romina, she came over yesterday, as I mentioned, and we were just working on like various art projects, and she got me to watch. She gave me the cliff notes on the first season of Witcher. Remember how we started watching The Witcher, and we were both like, man, the cinematography and the lighting and like. So there was just something off. Like the world building, in my opinion, was just never presented very well. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Is the Witcher the main character? Why should we care about him? Is he something special? Etc. Etc. And she gave me the cliff notes of what happens in the first season because she convinced me to sit back and watch the second season with her. And we didn't get a chance to watch all of it. I got up to like episode 4, I think, before we had to part ways and before it got super late at night. But yeah, whatever they did between seasons 1 and 2, thank God, because they did something. They fixed something in this show, where the production, the angles of the camera, everything is just so much better. And now they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna tell the story cohesively in a straightforward pattern because we can't all be Pulp Fiction. Only Pulp Fiction really pulled that off in a way that wasn't super confusing. The Witcher couldn't do it, so they were like, okay, we're just gonna film it in a linear fashion. And yes, if you haven't given it a second chance, maybe give it a second chance because I think they finally fixed whatever issues they were having. It's not perfect, but they fixed like just whatever production issues they were going through when they were trying to make this damn show. I can't stand this. I need to turn the light on. And I know, I said earlier, that the light I'm using gives the camera a yellowish glow, but I actually can't see what I'm doing here. So if this is acrylic, you know how it goes. It dries fast. I'm just doing quick, broad colors, and get it down while it's still wet. You can always go back and add layers to it. I mean, it's a dangerous thing because you want to please everyone, but sometimes even the fans don't understand like what works on paper doesn't work on film. But I don't think it was a fan issue. I don't think because they were following the plot. They were doing from what I've heard from fans of the book, what happens in the book in terms of like the story beats. But the thing is, I think it was a presentation. Someone wanted to be creative. I don't know if the book did this. That's the issue. I don't know if the book approached the storytelling this way. But it seems like someone wanted to be really creative and was like, "Oh, we'll tell it out of order." Without any subtitle that says 10 years later or 1 year earlier. I'm sure the fans will enjoy it that way. I think it was just someone made a weird decision that didn't translate into just what they were hoping for. Now, once again, right now, switching between the base emerald green and a little bit of the emerald green with yellow, just to get it while it's all still wet and to blend it. And once that dries a little bit more, I'll also start adding some red in there to get the red tones. Oopsie. Let me see. Because remember the story for Metal Gear all over the place. Metal Gear. I can't do the voice. Metal Gear. Call me Snake. What franchise am I in? Now for some of that cadmium red. Not a lot, just a little bit of cadmium red. There we go. Just mixing some red on the side, trying to get that nice red and green, that dark red and green. So what I like about using, aside from the fact that I'm recycling these egg cartons, you get this little nook right there, so you can mix and then drag your brush right in this little like reservoir right here to like really remove like the heavy thickness of some of the paint. So, as I paint this little sculpture of our friend Tonic, I also want to bring up that I am still working. It's maybe like 1 or 2 pages left on the presentation story, if I guess you could call it that, of bottled spirits, in which Tonic comes from. For those of you who are not my friend Joe, who understands exactly what I'm talking about, Joe and I bounced this idea back and forth. Basically, it boils down to Joe came up with an idea based on one of my art pieces, and then we bounced it back and forth, and we kind of came up with this thing that's kind of like a Danny Phantom meets Oliver Twist kind of setup. Ghostbuster, Oliver Twist, Danny Phantom. I know it sounds weird when I say it that way, but yeah. So this whole thing I'm doing right now is really meant to be like a little statuette to like kind of pique interest in it in a way. And who knows? Maybe I'll be able to. Maybe we'll be able to, of course, Joe and I, pitch it to I don't know, some kind of company that'll be like, oh yeah, that'll be great. Or we could just do a one-shot comic that's like a pilot comic. And let's see where it goes from there. Just basically, you had an idea, you want to get it on paper before you forget about it. I mean, now it's kind of time, especially for ghost stuff. Or maybe you should wait because it gets saturated. Because all of a sudden, I turn on, I don't know what channel it was. Maybe it was Disney XD. Maybe it was Disney XD, and there was this random ghost-oriented show. It was CGI, and the kids fight ghosts, but they fight ghosts in a superhero fashion. Like the kids become like Power Ranger-esque looking characters, but they're meant to be ghost people, but they have full body costumes. Like it's really like obviously made by the books to sell. Like, okay, we got 3 kids. Three kids. We have that diversity among them. One of them's gonna be a girl. They have superpowers and they fight a monster of the week, and that's it. Like, it's the bare bone minimum to make a kid series that you could then like sell toys of. It's like really bare bone. And I saw it and I was like, yeah. Don't know if it's bad timing or if they literally just pushed this thing out over the course of the past year because they knew Ghostbusters was making a return, and they were like, yeah, we gotta like... It's the same thing that happened when the Ghostbuster original movie came out, the first Ghostbuster movie, and Funimation took the license they legally had to the name Ghostbusters and made their own Ghostbuster cartoon. Hence the reason why there were two Ghostbuster cartoons. But I saw this and I was like, yeah, this is obviously like the bare bones minimum of just like kids show writing like the wave right now that is ghosts are popular. Let's make a show about ghosts. So I say now's the best time to do this, but at the same time I'm like, maybe I want to wait until it dies down and just make a show that will actually stand out rather than just blend into the background. What's the chat say? Chat. Yeah, get it onto the ozone. Poke a hole in that ozone layer. What's that you say? Original content. That's interesting. Are you crazy? Original interesting content? Who does that nowadays? That's not Disney's what's the word they use? That's not what Disney's looking for right now. Demographic. No, it's not demographic. What was the word Disney used when they told people our house is being like kneecapped? It doesn't fit. Like it's something about like it doesn't fit what they were aiming for at the time. People are like, "You an asshole." You have a show that's generally doing good, and you're like, nah, we don't want it. No, it has nothing to do with the gay audience. We're totally fine with that. I mean, but once again, it's one of those things where it's like, what works, and like I said, story-based cartoons always get snubbed in America. Like they don't want story-based cartoons. They want shows that any kid could jump into. We can sell a toy about it. No, they want episodic. And Danny Phantom, to be honest, was that. Danny Phantom was an episodic show. Danny Phantom wasn't even a show of like the 80s or 90s. It was a modern day show. But if you think about it, shows that did well, in my opinion, were episodic but had reoccurring villains. Not even big villains, just like a series of reoccurring villains. So you had like Kim Possible and Danny Phantom are good examples of two shows that are action-based, action-based for a younger audience. They were episodic, but they had enough undertone continuing storyline that you could enjoy. DuckTales was also the same thing. DuckTales are episodic, but had a continuing storyline. Slightly less episodic. No, you know what? It's just as episodic. Gravity Falls, same thing. So like you could do an episodic series that's done well, or you could just be brain dead and just have it be the monster of the week. Okay, I'm happy with the way the arm is. I'm gonna let that dry so I can address the shoulder. And I mentioned, as I said, I use the term brain dead when I mentioned Monster of the Week, but don't forget, like, I watched freaking Powerpuff Girls back in the day, and that was a Monster of the Week, but it had a little bit of heart to it. Then again, that show kind of from the get go established itself as a bit of a silly show. I don't know. It works differently for everyone. Like you never know what's gonna actually work, to be honest. How's the lighting, Joe? because I'm once again I turned off. I turn on my table light for I could see better, but I notice that tends to maybe flood out the camera light. When I turn off my table light, I don't see as well when I'm painting, but I think on camera you can see better definition in the colors. I don't know. What do you think? Once again, going back, just adding some more light yellow. Might be a little bit back and forth yellow between light and dark until I get just what I'm aiming at. Brand, that's the way I'm thinking of. Disney said it doesn't fit our brand. And Disney defended itself by saying it had, they didn't even mention the LGBT. They simply said our brand are short form episodic shows on Disney. But Disney XD is for more, and it's like bullshit. Disney XD was created for action shows, and then it quickly devolved into the dumping site. Any show that gets moved to Disney XD is because they're gonna cancel it. Like, everyone knows that. If a show you like gets moved to Disney XD, that's Disney saying, oh, okay, it's not doing well, we're gonna cancel it. They tried to do it. They did it with like the last handful of episodes of DuckTales. Like, they were at the end of the series and they were like, okay, to Disney XD with you. But yeah, so Disney was like, oh, no, our brand, it's nothing to do with the LGBT or anything like that. It's just, it's not an episodic, which is true. It wasn't. The Our House was not episodic. Especially as you got later on in the series. Like, if you missed one or two episodes, all of a sudden, the girls are dating, you have an openly gay character, and you're like, whoa, one of the characters, literally in one episode to the next, they redraw him to having gone through a growth spurt. So he's like taller than he was. The voice is much more not darker. The voice is much more deeper to match the voice actor, and it's like, okay. So yeah, I get it. It's not. It was not an episodic series at some point, but claiming that as the reason and kind of like casually scooting by everyone's questions about, well, what about the LGBT stuff? And you're like, oh no, we're not going to talk about that. Checking the chat right now. So you can see the paint job. Okay. All right, good. So once again, doing top strokes is not dry brush, but it is staying away from the knuckle lines. So I am keeping the details at least in the arms and everything. You know what? Let's really maybe give him light color nails. There we go. Let's focus that light green right on the nail for these. Thank you for the feedback about the camera, by the way. Yeah, no, because it's like it has a high contrast, so you can see it better. But at some angles, you lose it. But when I turn the light on, I feel it just kind of mutes it on to a weird orange color. I mean, the movies are still doing good. What was the movie before Encanto? What was So Disney released Encanto. I always said incorrectly. But Pixar, what did they release before that? Shoot. The last two animated films are doing good. That's from what I know. And I really do want to see the newest one. I want to see it because I've been seeing tons of fan art. I've been trying to avoid the fan art. I don't want to have spoilers as to what the movie's big twist is or whatever. There's tons of fan art of the new movie. In fact, after what I believe was a pretty good, successful show, Tangled, like Tangled, dude, Doug Walker talked about freaking Tangled, and he was like, yeah, the first season is definitely like kid friendly. I mean, the whole thing's kid friendly, but the first season of like Tangled or Rapunzel, whatever you want to call it, it very lighthearted, very episodic. But then as it goes into like season 2 and 3, the animation, the storytelling, the lore, there's freaking like background lore about like Rapunzel and her hair, and like it gets really good. And after that series did good, people are like, we want to see a show based on the newest movie, Encanto, but like the family life with like flashbacks of like one. There's a lot of flashback artwork I've been seeing. Like there's this one girl who has super hearing. She can hear like a pin drop at like 100 miles. And there's a lot of fan art about her as a baby, not a baby, but as a kid, like freaking out because everything's too loud. Like the emotional fan art of like the parents trying to calm her down because thunder scares her, and since one of the elder members of the family controls lightning and thunder when she gets upset, like it's really like the dynamic. People want to see the dynamic, and they're like, we would love to see a show based on this movie, just about the family, like flashbacks about when they were younger, what they went through, and like what they're doing now, and etc. etc. And once again, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say for myself what I want to see. But I do like the fan art. I like what the fans are coming up with. And Disney, let's be honest, Disney doesn't really care about taking ideas and saying it was theirs all along. So if a show comes up and it has some of the elements that the fan art brought up, that the fans were like, you should try this, and Disney's like, oh yeah, we'll try that, and then we'll pretend like it was always the plan. I don't care about that as long as it gets out there. Crud, what was the movie before the one that just came out? Was it a Pixar film or was it a Disney film? No, it couldn't have been a Disney film because like Disney then Pixar, Disney then Pixar. So the one right now with the Colombian family, in which they all have unique abilities, that's Disney's computer animated department. What came out before that? That was really big. God, it's driving me nuts now. Freaking these past 2 years, I'm losing track of like what's what. There we go. I forgot. I think it was like every day of Inktober. I used to crack my knuckles before the stream. I'm gonna jump over on my tablet to Picardo. Let me refresh that because I don't think anyone's in the chat. I don't think anyone's looking at Picardo. Like the whole reason I have this little side thing over here. Nah, no, the chat is all just from older chats. Ricardo looks like it's frozen. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm just double checking the other accounts. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to take a look at these. Let's take a look at these. Let's compare it to the legs. Yep, I think that's right. Maybe a little bit more lighter on the details. A little bit more light green. So, oh, speaking of which, let me put some light green while I'm here. While I have this guy out. Let's put some more light green on his nails. Like I said, let's make the nails light green. Just to make it stand out a bit. There we go. Okay, jumping back over to my Twitch tab. Luca! Thank you, Luca! I want to see Luca. I hear it's a very sweet slice of life. Like, it's not overly like dramatic. It doesn't take a twist where at the end it becomes an action sequence. It's apparently very like slice of life throughout the entire movie, and I want to see it. Okay, what is this? What is the point of these freaking like? This is obviously not really accounts. If you look at the chat right now, Kyle something, VUM yada yada. Like, what is that? It's not a link. You can't click it. What's the point of that? Like, I can't click it. I can't do anything with that. So what is? Are they? I mean, they're obviously bots, but I don't know what they're trying to achieve. Maybe someone who knows more about programming will tell me, "Oh yeah, you gotta be careful because those single 3 letters will crash your stream or whatever." I don't know. Now the main thing, and here's a hint to many artists, starting artists out there, knowing the art wheel. You know, knowing that okay, right now I'm mixing yellow to dial back this green. The yellow is what I'm using to lighten the green. You don't want to switch to white all of a sudden to lighten that color. You know, because then it will look odd. You'll get a different tone of green with white. So you know, if you're gonna stick, you know, I'm using yellow to lighten the green and red to darken it, as opposed to white and black to darken it, which is something I used to do when I was younger because I was really silly and I don't know what I was doing. And if you go back and forth with that, you will like just end up with different colors. Black will just flatten it, and white dulls the green. It doesn't actually lighten it; it dulls it. Okay. So we're gonna let those dry for a minute. And as they dry, I'm gonna show you some stuff. Bam! Primed and ready to go. This is Spider. I've done a few videos of her. I've posted several images of her in progress on my Instagram. She is a fashionista wearing a big bulbous fur coat. And now that she's primed and it's all like one color, it just looks better. And for those of you who don't know, she, in the vein of, as many people have already mentioned, in the vein of those old Ghostbuster toys, she essentially turns into this long-legged or long-armed, like insectoid-armed monstrous character. The entire chest opens up to reveal, and the googly eye will be painted. It's not gonna be like that. And she just becomes this horrific, like, combination of I guess you could say Ghostbuster toys, the movie The Thing, And I think there's an anime called Parasite out there. So like that kind of vein. The fur coat that she wears is in fact a creature that is parasitic in nature. And yeah, so she is ready to be painted. I'm gonna be painting her. She needs to be done, so I might not even wait for a stream. I might just go straight into the painting. See the teeth? He has two top teeth, little sharp bottom teeth. Mixture of like Revoltech joints, Lego bits, and just really what I call precision sculpting. You have to get it just right. That way everything like still locks into place. And that is Spider. So Spider is there, ready to go. This gentleman needs some work because I hit the camera, sorry. So this is Hunger or Starve, whichever works better. Hunger works, Starve works. He needs to be cleaned up. This chest, I need to do some sanding to like curve the chest, as opposed to this being this flat plate. Ooh, I have the hiccup, sorry. So this guy carrying this big old Uber Eats box. He is also part of the same series. These are the same guys who are part of my figurines I've shown before. I have them on the shelf up there. There's Good Boy, the dog that transforms, and there's Cello, is a little kid with a giant cello case that becomes like a freaking scorpion. And they're just people with extra mass on them. Like this guy's the box, she has the briefcase. I mean, she has the briefcase. She has the fur coat. And let's see what he does. I'm actually very proud of how the whole chest worked out. So I still gotta do, like I said, I still gotta sand the edges of this plate to curve it. But essentially, you pull that out. A little stubby tail. More sculpting is gonna go on this. Tilt his head all the way in. Lift. Split this with the Lego. I'm not gonna show what it is yet. Just gonna turn it around. So we're gonna split this all the way around. Need to get the tail past it. Give me a second. There we go. So that clips. This comes down. So you have once again gonna be painted. You have this bulge that's like a spinal bump, which then begins to divide a little bit here and then splits into like these pairs of 2, 2, 2. I'm gonna add more spikes down the tail. 2, 2, 2. We twist the feet around. So the bottom half has no real major transformation. It's just what it is. So it has like this kind of dinosaur feet going on. Little dude. Speaking of dinosaur, I'm covering the face purposely. Little dinosaur arms that come down. And ta-da! Look at that guy. He got side eyes, front eyes. He got nasty look, and he has like rib cage like sides here that just go and continue up. My only worry is hoping that when I paint it, it won't cause too much scraping on these freaking pieces here. So this is Starve or Hunger. I might just call him Hunger, but for now I'm calling him Starve. Because rather than Uber Eats, you don't eat, you starve. But the one thing I'm happy with is I was able to sculpt all of this, and haha, he has a jaw that actually opens and closes. Look at that. So this is my boy. He is also on the block, on the chopping block of projects to get off the table. Spider needs to be painted. He needs, I think, aside from a little detailing on the chest of the human side, he is good to be painted soon as well. And these will be gone and checked off my list. So I am extremely happy with the way this guy looks. Yeah. So yeah, he has a up and down jaw that slides up and down. Little joints that go up and down. By the way, if you're looking for cool joints, it's simply called Ball Shape Joints Premium Parts Collection. You get a pack like this. It's 2 pieces with little plugs. Um, they're not ratchet, but as long as you squeeze that plug in, like I put a little piece of green clay there, and a little piece of green clay there, so the plug doesn't fly out. Because after overuse, the plug began to slip. But these are golden. Like these, I love these little plugs. They're great for just quick little joints. And yeah, those are those two. Those are my pack. P-A-C-K. The pack. If it was written, I'm going to stick with that title. If it was written on a piece of paper, if it was a title in a comic book, it would be that with a big squiggly K painted over the T. Pact as in a deal between two people, like the symbiotes from Spider-Man, but pack because all these characters are essentially carrying with them this other creature that could then kind of shapeshift into hiding, like as backpacks, as bookcases, as like large fur coats. They shift and they shift and change, and that is my excuse for why all these characters have giant backpacks on. Last but not least, this is from my good friend Red Spectra. Red Spectra here on Twitch. Red Spectra over on Instagram. If you're looking for retro gaming, Japanese gaming, rare gaming, check him out. He just has a general love of them. He loves playing them, and he tries to like beat them and check them off his list. And he's a casual player. He hasn't streamed a lot lately, but definitely go to Instagram, Red Spectra. Check out his collection of just like really cool like Japanese games that like never made it to America back in like the Nintendo early days. And I am making his avatar. Usually you just see the top half of the guy. He has like a red cape and he has these orange horns. But I'm doing the full figure. This is a gift for him. Check him out, please. And now that all that's been said, let's get to the shoulders and get this project done. When it comes to the pack, sadly, there's no real plan for it right now. The pack, it is just me venting ideas. Like, I want to make a Transformer. That's a human. And I still got a few in the mental work. Like, they're in my head. They on paper, they kind of make sense. But, of course, once you start building it, it gets a little harder and harder. So I still got a few more packed characters I want to work out. Their names are all like really simple and generic based on what they turn into or what they use to turn into. So there's one character named Hoodie who's just a girl with a large hood and she has a backpack like a school book pack, a school book backpack. There we go. She was one of the first ones that I thought of. But I've always struggled with making the transformation work. So she's one I want to work on. And before that being said, I still have not made the title character. These are all like villainous side characters. Like the actual like title character doesn't just like have the face transform or have the arms come out. Or like in this guy when it top half transforms but he has little human legs. No, like granted this Starve over here is like the most in-depth in terms of like covering the human. He is the most in-depth I've done. But the main hero, the heroine of the group, I'm still struggling with a lot of her work because she is meant to completely change. Like, she basically becomes she's not affected by a parasite. For her, the parasite has leaned more towards a symbiotic form. So together, the two of them make a new person. But yeah, so I still got more ideas for that. But that is in truth more stress relief art because it's artwork. As I've told Joe in the chat before, there's art you do, and there's art you do something with. Art I do is the pack. But when I record it and put it on Instagram and show you on Twitch, that's something I'm doing with the art. TONIC, is art I'm doing, but with the intention of actually getting it done and maybe showcasing it. Because I could do art all I want the rest of my life, but if I don't actually do something with it, you're stuck doing a 9 to 5 job for the rest of your life. And with all that being said, I'm going to once again repeat myself. Man, do I miss conventions. I miss selling and showing my art. Check out my Etsy page, please. I know the photographs are a bit dark. I need to take new photographs of all the products, but all the stuff I sell at conventions and the stuff that I show on my Instagram for the conventions is on my Etsy page. I like that better. Art as a release valve and art that you release. I like that. That's a good way to look at it. And for many a year, for many of my life, for many of us in general, we do we do the art that as a release valve, but we don't take the time to release it sometimes. I mean, that's why I'm here with you fine ladies and gentlemen and other people here on Twitch and the other extended mediums to showcase. Like, I want to share this with you. I want to share my passion with you. I said my freaking tagline. I'm here to share my imagination with the world. And if anything, at the very least, what I'm doing here with the pack, uh, the pack is in truth proof of concept. Like, they could definitely use some work to make them a bit more streamlined, to make the transformation a bit easier. Because I'm sculpting it all by hand, and I don't know how they did Transformers back in the day, all by hand. But then again, original Transformers were very angular. They didn't really have many points of articulation. But with that being said, like, it's proof of concept. Take a few photographs of them. Maybe design a book of like instructions of how they transform to showcase as like a portfolio, and showcase it to someone, Hasbro or someone else. I don't think Hasbro will be really into it. But you never know. Just mixing some emerald green back. Like, I just gave the whole shoulder a big coat of yellow, but there's no definition between like the yellow and the darker tones. So a little bit more yellow just on the edge, just on the lip. His shoulders are kind of like mushrooms. I had to like re-sculpt them several times, because the first time I sculpted them, I didn't give them like curving ridges around the edge. Like, I didn't curve up and down the ridge. Kind of like a umbrella has like ridges, and yeah, it didn't look like a mushroom. It looked like something else. I think we got it. I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow to the fingernails, just because. Once again, I was actually very happy with the way yeah, mix you up. There you go. Mix you up. I was actually very happy with the sculpting, and now that we could see shading, exaggerated shading with the paints. Oh, it's so good, so sexy. Oop, that's not good. There we go. Yeah. So, I was having a discussion. With Joe. Everything's gonna be attached nicely. Oof, as I burp, to the final form, to the big bottle of tonic. But I want the idea that like tonic himself is trapped in the bottle, and he squeezes from the top of the bottle a little bit of ecto goo, which flows down the edges and then sprouts out the arms and legs. So he's not really phasing through the bottle. He's just able to slightly escape it. I'm not sure what to do for the goo. I was thinking just taking a glue gun and going nuts all around the edges, like making it all bubbly and like let it drip naturally, and then painting the glue gun. And you can paint a glue gun. Paint does take to it. I've never seen paint chip off a glue gun that bad, to be honest. But that's one idea I had. I'm trying to think what the other ideas would be. I could take the Crayola foam and like put the Crayola foam all around the edges. But it then it wouldn't have that. It'd be kind of hard to sculpt that kind of like bubbly nature. At least with a glue gun, it's already kind of slimy when it comes out the glue. So it has like a you know what it looks like. You know what it looks like. It looks like a doughy material when it comes out. So I'm still iffy on how to portray that like element of like a foamy material coming out. I'm just trying to clean my brushes and freaking tinted green water anyway. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm gonna put these guys back on the clip. It was really fun, so I'll just show you right now. Since he already has a little bit of the green stuff, molding material, but imagine this guy with like giant arms like this. Hey, how's it going? Like this actually looks really good. Like I kind of like that. I kind of like the tiny head, big old long arms. It gives me ideas for future. It gives me ideas for future projects. But for now, he's gonna have little T-Rex arms, little tiny T-Rex arms. In fact, once again, go into the old streams on YouTube. You're gonna see the I did an illustrated rendition of what this guy looks like. Like partway through sculpting him, when I had an idea of what the sculpt was gonna look like, I have an illustrated rendition. It was a digital drawing. It looks kind of like a bloated. I gave him a slightly more rounded form. Obviously, he has like a bloated, evil tadpole kind of look to him. By the way, I am super happy with the jaw mechanism. It's just a sliding peg. Where are you? Here it is. Connects. So you take one of the poles, which I think this is the pole I use for his mouth. I put one of these connects inside the head. So this little thing is in the head. And when you put the connect sideways, it slides anyway. So I put a connect in the mouth, put a little screw in it, that way it wouldn't slide all the way, and that's how I'm doing the sliding of his mouth. You know, maybe one day I'll freaking actually, you know, do what I say I'm gonna do, and learn Blender, and I that way I can actually 3D sculpt all the mechanisms I need. This also looks kind of funny when you have the things in the side with the magnifying glass in the center. Anyway, these guys, I think we're done with this. I think, yeah, I am happy with this. Yeah, so we're gonna take our hands and put them off to the side. So that was the main thing I wanted to do today. Now I don't know if I'm going to do any more painting. If I wanted to, I could do some base colors. We could start working on her. For that, I'll most likely use the airbrush paint. Something lighter. That's the bane of my existence, by the way. That is the bane of my existence. You know what? Let's have some fun. I'm gonna coat this with an actual set of actual white paint, and I want to keep this pink. This is when you let the figurine help you with the final product. So this originally was a girl in a dress, and she had little sequence bumps. I don't know if you can see them, they're like little bumps. So what I'm gonna do, the fur coat is dark. It's like a grayish black, white bodysuit because she's over the top like that. But I'm gonna take this pink and copy it on the sequence as if she has like pink sequence and these squared off pink glasses. So let's get some white. Let's paint her for a little bit. Just to take up another like 20 minutes or something. Hold on. Okay. So I have this, right? And it says this is opaque. No, they're both opaque, but this is super thick. This is like watery. So I don't know why my airbrush paints are like the white airbrush is so damn thick. Oh, I need to change this water. Ecto Cooler, anyone? Give me a second, guys. Yeah, okay. Some people, I know there's some people out there who are still screaming at me, why are you using a paintbrush for airbrush? Use the airbrush once again. Use the actual airbrush machine. I go once again. I don't have like the internal facility in my house to do that. And also because I still have not bought like those model paints that are super expensive, but are like really good for like fine watery detailing like this. You know, water down, get into all the nooks. I went with white for the bodysuit since she was already wearing white as a dress. So all I really had to do was like spray paint the legs and coat the legs over. Uh, and that's another issue. That's another like example of like you have the idea, um, but if you're not like super attached to everything of every single detail of the idea, you let the figurine you're customizing, help guide you down the right path. Oh, I was thinking of giving him denim jeans, but then again, the figurine I'm customizing has, military fatigue, military colors. Why not stick with the military colors? Like sometimes you just stick with what works. So I'm trying to go very thin. This this uh, I'm watering this airbrush paint. Uh, I want to go thin, let it dry, and then try and get into those damn kneecaps, which is like I said, bane of my existence. Like trying to get color into like the joints of figurines. I don't even know which wrestler this is. I mean, these are all wrestling figurines, roughly the 6 to 7 inch, which is just a little bit bigger than your average like action figurine like from Marvel or DC. Um, so like trying to keep it like in that range. Yeah, but I don't know who this chick is. Concept wise, so Spider, as I call her, is a fashion mogul. One of those like either she's a model or she's either a model or she's one of those girls who's just she's famous because she's famous and that's it. Like she crashes parties and whatnot. But if she was in the story, she's kind of an anti-hero character. She's not out to get the main girl. Unlike every other person who has one of these parasites, is out to get the main character. Um, Mainly because the main character is bound to a parasite who has turned into a symbiotic relationship and is therefore way more powerful than the rest of them. Who would have thought working with people uh, is better than trying to kill them? So they run to her, and she has a parasite, but it's apparently the parasite is so young, it pretty much has like no strength. So she has essentially forced the parasite into a symbiotic relationship. The parasite lacks knowledge and skill, so she's so like full of herself. She basically overpowered the parasite, and she's like, "Oh, he works for me now." Let me see if I tilt it all the way back. Tilt those legs. Tilt those legs. See, thing is, I don't know how. I'm trying to go thin, so when I close the kneecaps, it won't strip it. But chances are that's what's gonna happen anyway. So here's the thing. I know there's been. So I still have the old DC encyclopedia, which I think was up to date up to 2004. And I love the DC encyclopedia because it shows you all the history, kind of condensed in the DC comics up to that point. And there's like several. There's been several people to have the name Cheetah. And with that being said, I remember Cheetah from also the Batman Superman cartoon, and correction, Justice League cartoon. And even though they don't give full details on her, in that one she's a mutation. Like she experimented on herself, and she's like part cheetah. So there's like several cheetahs, so I don't know. Keep an eye on my phone. I have 31%. My phone is reaching the end of its lifespan because lately it's been like draining power so quickly. Okay, just a drop of red. There we go, just a drop. It's gonna be kind of hard to match this hot pink, but if I get close to it, I'm happy. George Perez Cheetah really freshes out her character. Okay. I'm just adding some. I'm just adding some random little dots onto the small amount of sculpting they gave her. I think I should just do it down one leg, make it like really interesting. It's essentially it's meant to be like based on the sculpting on this, I could tell it was meant to be like what's it called? Like a rhinestone kind of thing going on. I don't know if I should do it down both sides. Cause she's wearing like this bodysuit that has like all these little gems on it, but I don't know if I should go down both sides. What do you think? Keep it asymmetrical, go down just around the belly and then down to one side, or should I do it on both sides? Give her like almost cheetah pattern, almost like a cheetah pattern. Um, what I am gonna do, like always, like define it. Like I've always erased it or define it later. I am gonna do a little band around the base of the jumpsuit. me see. I don't want to do other patterns. I want to kind of make it look like she's wearing a suit. But I don't know if I should just have the rhinestones going down just to one side of her body. And I realized I didn't spray the freaking glasses. I have to do several coats of pink to get that to work now. Shoot. Now whatever. They're meant to be like neon glasses, so they're not like perfectly pink. A little bit of water. Get out the way, freaking shoot. The hardest part for me is always matching skin tone. Which is why I tried really hard to like tape off the feet and tape off the face. That way I wouldn't have to like go back and paint a skin tone that worked. There we go. Really trying to be really careful around the freaking face. Random note. So there are two themes that pop up in the last two Disney/Pixar films. One of which is in the Italian one, the Italian one whose name just escaped me again. In which of the two boys, the one who claims to be most skilled at being a human tells the younger one, you have a voice in your head that tells you you're doing something wrong, and the negativity of your mind, that is Bruno. You must scream out Silencio Bruno, like shut up Bruno. Bruno is the character in your head that you never listen to. Funny enough, in the newest Disney film, which takes place in Colombia, there's a character named Bruno, and there's an entire song dedicated to him, called was it We Don't Talk About Bruno? Yeah, I think it's called like We Don't Talk About Bruno. I think that's the main lyric. But basically, both films just don't like guys named Bruno. Oh, shoot. I just painted the side of my phone. Well, not the phone case. And once again, there's that weird audio cue from Street Fighter. Perfect. There we go. Cover that white. Okay, so we're gonna bend the leg, see what happens. Click, click. You know, I like that. I like the asymmetric. I like the. You have to let the glasses dry for a second. Give them a second coat in just a minute. There we go. I like that. And so the rest of her, like I said, the coat. This is gonna be let me move her over. This is gonna be like a grayish, blackish gray color. So I'll use a lot of dry brush and everything to get into the fine details. And then the innards will be as I usually do with the pack. As I reach for it, the innards of the arms will be this more purplish, fleshy purple color. Purple and pinks. Not this pink, but definitely purple and pinks. That's the theme I go with these, because at the time that was the only paint I had. I was like, yeah, let's make it more like a purplish pink, like a purplish ocean creature kind of weird color. Fashionista Storm Shadow. I'm happy with her. She was such a struggle. You know, I wasn't sure how I felt about the fact that her arms just kind of jut out this way because of the restrictions. Yeah, man, I need to study 3D. I need to study 3D modeling, like digital 3D modeling, because if I can make the models, make the pieces I need, as opposed to being restricted to like certain elements, because like these were like straight shells. These arms were made from a freaking Pez dispenser. Like, I had an old Pez dispenser, and I took the shell, this really thin plastic, this hollow thin plastic, to make the arms. One of the original ideas for her was that I was gonna do the arms slightly curved, more like if that's the ball joint, it was gonna be like that, and then this was the hand, and then once again it was split down the middle, the way that these split down the middle and open. So she was gonna have at least a forward look, but things don't always work out, because sometimes you don't have what you need. Adding a red streak on it. Don't know if that's meant to be a shine or if the glasses are like split. I just think it looks kind of cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let that dry. So that I didn't prime the glasses. I'm gonna have to do a few layers to really get rid of that green. I'm trying to read that name. 3 Fidget Bite? I'm sorry, my dyslexia is kicking in. I see like 5 G's and 3 D's and going crazy. Oh, I get it now. Thank you very much for the commentary. Thank you for the positive feedback, and just in general, thank you for joining the chat. Get those bug arms out. You know what? Just for the heck of it, since we're on a roll, I'm gonna do a little bit of the arms. Get some purple in there. Stand by. All right. I slept too much today. I don't know what it was. I think I'm a lizard. Once it got cold, I just freaking crashed. So I'm like actually pretty wide awake, even though this is usually just a 2-hour stream. We're gonna take some purple and start doing the inner pieces. We're gonna pop these off, make it easier for us. Let's make this monster look beautiful. The hell was that? Freaking plastic bag. Hey, do you ever had that happen? You put something down for like a second, and it shifts like a plastic bag or a piece of paper, and it makes a noise afterwards, and you kind of jump like a wuss. Trying to get this freaking opaque white to move. Oh, thank you very much for the follow. That is awesome. You are awesome. Yeah, I do streaming every Sunday night. I usually start up at 8 and do like roughly 2 hours of streaming, ranging from painting custom figurines, doing some digital art. It's a bit of a mix of whatever comes up to mind. And then when it comes to a lot of these custom figurines, I'll pre-record a bunch of stuff and upload a separate video on YouTube for that. That's just like how I made it and why I made it and etc. Thank you very much for the follow. That is awesome. So this girl was made out of a number of things. Like you have these little Lego joints, these little C clamps and the Lego joints attached to some miscellaneous plastic tubing, like plastic piping. I forget where I got them. I just know that they were hollow, they were plastic, and they were hard plastic, so they make great skeletal pieces, like interior joints. That's that. Let's switch brushes. Still getting those weird YouTube bot thingies. I don't know what that's about. So I'll sometimes just do this box. I'll sometimes just do the base coat of like this purple. Then I'll go back and add like vein details and like little lines of gory stuff on the inside. So I've had people ask me, why don't you sell the figurines? I go, well, these figurines, once again, are like proof of concept. They're not, personally, I don't find them strong enough and sturdy enough to like sell until I find a way to mass produce them in a more coherent form, 3D printing or whatever it takes. And I just saw a video. There's this guy on YouTube. He does these really funny videos in which all the characters are stop motion, like they're figurines from various like animes and whatnot. But the main figurine is this crazy anime faced character with like razor sharp nails, like blades for fingers, and she wears a big yellow fur coat, and she's really mean, and she's like the host of the channel. And they were just going over a review for a like $350 figurine of Boba Fett that's apparently like handmade. But in the end, it's definitely more of an art piece than an actual figurine you should be selling for that much. Because the guy who holds the channel admits he bought the figurine knowing it was gonna be garbage, and it was. $350 figurine of Boba Fett, where the armor is hot glued on. The backpack was 3D printed and broke instantly just by gently squeezing it. And that's what I want to avoid. Like, if I'm going to sell toys, they're going to be like industry grade plastic. You know, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Come on. There we go. So I'm painting the inside also purple, but I'll probably actually switch it up a little bit later, do a coat of pink. Like, actually make it look like gums and fleshy bits. That freaking googly eye that's in there. Oh, Lordy Dante. So turn it. Can't see what I'm doing. Not enough light. There we go. That's better. Okay, let that dry for a minute. I might as well paint the inside of these also. One of the best compliments I've received recently. So I was putting up. So I frequent Transformer. It's Transformer World 2005. That's the website. TFW 2005. I like that website. It has a lot of news about new Transformer toys. Mostly what's it called? Mostly official stuff. But they'll also put up like a few notes on like third party stuff that's really interesting. But their message boards are broken down into sections such as custom figurines, heavy customs, repaints, and non-Transformer customs. So even though these characters transform into monsters, I I post them on the non-transformer section, and a compliment I tend to get is, "Wow, that's so cool. It reminds me of the old Ghostbuster toys." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what I'm talking about, baby." Should I do the spike? You know what? Yeah, let's do the spike also. This color purplish. Once again, we could always go back and color it like a white if we wanted to. Yeah, so this lovely lady was, to be more precise as to why I call her spider, she was inspired by the golden orb spiders. Those spiders that have like really thin, skinny legs, but at the end of the legs they have hairy, I guess you could say forearms in a way, and they're called golden orb because their webbing is slightly yellow. So when they wrap stuff up, it's these golden orbs in the spider web. And originally she was going to have like a blondish colored fur coat, but since the character has blonde hair, I'm like, you know what? Let me make it blonde. Let me make it like a black spider. She has blonde hair, but the arms are going to be black fur. I'm just thinking about, now that I'm looking at his name, I'm thinking about that joke from South Park. You gave that Loch Ness Monster 350? I gave that Loch Ness Monster 350. That's an old South Park joke. Locked in my front door dressed like a Girl Scout. I ain't never seen a Girl Scout that's 400 feet tall. You're the Loch Ness Monster. Or whatever height it was. It was definitely like several hundred feet tall, they said. Shoot. How much of the shoulder should I actually make? Once again, let's just do all of this inner. Let's do all the innards purple while I have this exact shade of purple with me. And then we'll add some reddish and pink, actually. Ironically, she's going to be pink all around. Now, my only worry is that these teeth I gave her, these inner teeth, they interlock pretty hard on each other. And if I paint them white, I'm afraid this is going to scrape off. Let's do the inside the ball joint right here. Let's also like make all of that pink or purple actually. There we go. Okay. So that is our base colors of white, pink, and purple. I need to. Oh, there's some green on that leg. How did green get on that? Jeez, I think it's some green I have on my hand. Yeah, I'll have to do some strokes later on around her kneecap. Let me switch my rag, because my rag is all covered in different colors. Okay, base pink, base purple, base white. We haven't done any type of dry brushing at all yet. We're not near that point yet. In truth, I'm debating right now if I have the strength to keep going, or should I call it a night and actually get back on a proper sleep pattern? Because I am so screwy right now. You know what I'm gonna do? You know what we're gonna do, people? What we're gonna do, Dante? What we're gonna do? I'm gonna take a little bit of white, the smallest amount of red, and I'm going to go ahead and just give one last coat over the sunglasses. Should I keep that reddish streak? Let's see. I could always go back and re-add it if I really want to. You know what I'm gonna do? Let's give her a coat of very light yellow for the hair. Just straight up just yellow. Then I say we call it a night. Cause the fur coat is gonna be a mixture of base color, wet colors, freaking dry brush. It's gonna freaking screw up the white of her dress, but we'll get back to that when we have to. Should I use the acrylic paint or should I try and use airbrush paint? Let's see how the acrylic works. Now let me get my airbrush paint. I think the airbrush paint I have is like thin enough where the yellow will work. Give me a second. That's right. I bought new yellow because it just the old yellow paint I had was just way too thick. So if anyone buys wrestling figurines, you know the hair is always like this, especially for the female characters, of course, the hair is always like this rubbery secondary piece. Like you have the sculpted face, but the hair is always like a rubber cap on top of that. So this character had a tiara, and I wanted to get rid of the tiara. So I got rid of the tiara. I got rid of this ponytail she had, this Elsa short ponytail that she had on, and I sculpted right about here out of hard epoxy clay a filler for where the tiara once was, because there's a hole in her head. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be a pain in the butt. So I had to make sure I primed everything. I primed over the rubber hair because I wasn't sure how well this paint would hold on to the rubber of the hair. And I knew it would hold on fine to the clay, but we all know how paint and rubber works. You think it's dry, and then 4 weeks later you come back and it's still tacky as all hell. One trick I tried, and it kind of worked. It actually did kind of work. I I needed to give someone a tail, so I took an old electrical cord, pushed a aluminum wire through it, really thin aluminum wire, like a thin electrical cord, I mean pretty much about as thick as this. Put a aluminum wire through it, did the end of the tail, and then I painted it, not knowing how well it would take. And when I realized it wasn't working, the paint wasn't taking. It wasn't cracking. It just wasn't taking. Like it just wouldn't dry fully. I gently powdered him down with like baby powder. Like I just used the baby powder to like soak it up. So it works like that. But for future use, I'm thinking I would use Plasti Dip. Because Plasti Dip's entire thing is that it is a paintable, flexible rubber that you usually paint onto foam. So I'm thinking Plasti Dip on electrical wire, or anything that's plastic, anything that's rubbery, that will then turn into a flexible, usable material. Okay. Let me clean the brush off and just do some stripes to really smooth it out, get the excess off. So the hair is definitely going to use some wet brush to bring out all the details in this curly hair she has. There's the smallest amount of green showing right where the freaking glasses meets the face. There we go. Not perfect, but better. As Mama Burgos used to say, it looks 100% better. 100% better than what it was. Okay, so here's our girl. She has her like rhinestone spots going down her leg. We have the base coat for the purple innards. Base coat white, base coat pink, base coat pink. Once again, the only issue is when we paint the freaking fur coat, it's gonna need some wet brush, and that's gonna screw around with all this white. I have to tape some tissue all around this because usually I soak really crazy when I'm doing my wet brush. Now, on a side note, let's return to what we started with. Boom, baby, these hands are done. They are dry. They are ready to go. And I'm gonna mount these eventually onto our figurine on top, not the figurine we started this entire stream with. And yeah, that's gonna look awesome. And I'll probably have a video, of the process and the final video on YouTube, separate from all the streaming, for the character of TONIC. So TONIC and his green hands are gonna look great. There is quite literally a single white speck on his arm that the brush couldn't get into. There we go. God, that would have driven me crazy. I say, come on. There we go. I say we're done. Damn, I'm so happy with the way these hands look. Like the way that fist, like the knuckles in the back, not the best, but the way the fist and the way the hands look here, I am so happy with that. Okay, brushes are cleaned. There's not much paint in my egg cotton palette thingy. So I don't think I'm gonna bother even trying to cover it. Just let that dry up. I'm just gonna use up the very last of this purple paint because it's hard when you mix a color and you get it just right. It's really hard to like get it back. So I'm just gonna add some water and really stretch out the last of it, just to get all the bits and bobs done. Yeah, won't do the back, but the inner piece here. And yep. I think we're done, guys. I think we are done. I am happy. One project is on the way done. One project is finally getting off the ground in terms of painting. My art station is a complete mess after moving stuff around. I think we're good. Okay. So big thanks once again to 350 gigabyte. Gigabyte. Thank you for joining the chat. Thank you for the follow. Which reminds me, I don't think I gotta check my settings because I thought I had settings set up that when someone follows me, I get a notification. But maybe I'm using this is my table setup as opposed to my digital drawing setup, and I don't think I have it saved on this setup. Either way, thank you, sir, for joining. Thank you for the kind words, and to everyone else who watching these later on. Once again, as I said like 5 times, everything here gets archived on YouTube. Check out the older videos. Stand by for new videos regarding these customized figurines independently from the streams. And as always, you can also see me every Sunday at 8 o'clock, roughly 2-hour stream. To those of you who are off tomorrow, to those of you who aren't off, just everyone have a happy holiday. Remember why we have that holiday. Take care of yourself. And if you're in the New York area, stay warm, please. Anyway, once again, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.